Welcome to DeFi Crypto today. Topic today is Avalanche. Apparently Avalanche is super fast, low cost sorta, and eco-friendly. Well, everybody likes that. So Avalanche is in the news quite a bit these days because they have a new program. They're giving away a lot of money. If you go on their Twitter, they talk about the Avalanche Rush. They're going to give away $180 million in DeFi incentives on AAVE and Curve. We don't know the date exactly. It's coming soon, according to the report. So they're going to give money on AAVE and on Curve. You basically, once the program starts, you deposit on AAVE in the Avalanche network, and you're going to get bonus AVAX tokens added to your yield. Okay. We don't know exactly how much because it's not quite there yet, but we're talking about $20 million here on AVAX, $7 million here on Curve for a period of 3 months, and so on, blah blah blah. You can read the details. Okay, so that's exciting. Basically, they're copying Polygon's marketing program, which was very, very successful with AAVE and Curve and others. And because AAVE and Curve are massive protocols that have millions of users, so they're trying to get obviously a lot of those users to come on board Avalanche, and hopefully it's going to work for them. And we're going to get bonus. That's the whole point of this. We're going to get bonus tokens. So let's go there and collect the tokens once it starts. So what else? Yeah, we're talking about that here. Yeah, I need other details. Yeah, you're going to be also AAVE, Curve, and Sushi Swaps have agreed to deploy the new network. So they're starting to work on this, and eventually, when it's ready, we're going to be able to collect the extra bonus tokens. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the Avalanche ecosystem. So first thing first, you need to move your funds into Avalanche. Right now, they have an Avalanche bridge in beta, so be careful. Don't send millions of dollars worth of Ether through this too quickly. So try a little bit at a time. So it works both ways. It works from Avalanche to Ethereum. Now we'll make sure that we are connected to Ethereum if we do this. So we switch to Ethereum. Now, here's something interesting. If you send more than $75 worth of tokens, you're going to receive an AVAX airdrop. That is supposed to compensate you for the cost of transferring the tokens, because transferring from Ethereum to anywhere costs an arm and a leg. So it's not going to refund you all your gas fees, but it's going to help a little bit. Typically you get 0.1 AVAX, which is about $4. If we look at one AVAX, about 40 right now. So you're going to get maybe $3-4 back on your gas, something like that. So it's better than a kick in the pants. It's kind of a nice gesture to incentivize people to transfer to Avalanche. Also, what are the gas fees on Avalanche proper? They're a lot lower than Ethereum, but they're a lot higher than Polygon or Solana, for instance. So they're comparable to Binance Smart Chain, maybe a little bit higher than Binance Smart Chain. Okay, might cost you a few dollars per transaction. So keep that in mind. So if you're planning on transferring funds to Avalanche, transfer an amount that's substantial enough to cover the cost of gas fees. Okay, it's not like Polygon where you can transfer $10 and pay 1/1,000,000th of a dollar. Okay, it's going to cost you a couple dollars probably each time you do anything. Okay, you swap, you deposit, you withdraw, you collect, whatever. It's going to cost you $1 here, $1 there. So think about that. Okay, not as economical as Polygon, but supposed to be a lot faster. So that's the bridge. Unfortunately, it only works between Ethereum and Avalanche and vice versa. It doesn't work with Polygon yet, doesn't work with Binance yet, doesn't work with other networks yet. So keep that in mind. Now, what's nice is that Rockdock now started very recently to evaluate Avalanche farms. So now you know where not to put your money. So Birdie Finance, high risk, okay, might not be the best place to put your money. Now, they don't have all the farms, obviously, they just started, so they got half a dozen of them at the moment. Beefy, we talked about Beefy, I'm going to talk about them again today. Beefy is multi-chain, as you can see, and they're considered low risk by Rockdock. We talked about that already. So that might be a good place to start if you want to look at liquidity pools where you can earn some decent returns. Okay, all the others, Cycle says not eligible because of whatever reason they've got here. They've got a yield optimizer. They think that their contract is too complex for them to evaluate, and that's why they put not eligible. This one has some risk, Trader Joe. Elk is not eligible also. Lydia is medium risk, so be careful with this one. And Birdie, well, put all your money there if you want it to burn. If you want to lose your money, that's your best bet right there. Okay, so yeah, consult Rockdock. They're probably going to add several farms here as they come along, because many of them are not on this at the moment. Okay, I'm going to see what I mean here. One place, okay, we're on the wrong network now. Let's switch back. So you can use MetaMask for Avalanche. You just have to switch to the Avalanche network. And once you're on the Avalanche network, you can play after you transfer some tokens there. All right, Banky is the AAVE equivalent protocol for Avalanche at the moment, before AAVE actually gets on the Avalanche protocol. So Avalanche network. So you can deposit and you can borrow. And what's very nice is that, okay, so you let's say you make a deposit, you can use it as a collateral. Watch it. The collateral levels are different for each of these tokens, same as you'd see on AAVE. So check which one give you the best collaterals and the best yields. And you earn on your borrowings. Nice. So they pay you to borrow. Now be careful. Keep yourself far away from liquidation. We're going to have a quick look at what they're doing. I don't have any funds on Avalanche yet. I'm waiting for AAVE and Curve. Okay, before I invest, I want to have a, because I trust AAVE a lot more than I trust Benki. Sorry, Benki, but you're new. And I trust Curve a lot more as well. So I want to check what the incentives are going to look like when they come out. And then I can make a better decision and figure out, okay, is this going to be good enough or not? On the other hand, if I invest right now, I might be able to get better yields here. Okay, so again, that's something for you to consider. Do you want to risk it? I mean, Benki's probably quite fine. As far as I know, they've been audited. But you should double check that. And they have quite a bit of money right now, 875 million, so it's probably fine. But the rates change very fast. These rates were much higher yesterday. Okay, so more people invest, the lower the yields get. Okay, so keep that in mind. So if you want high yields, maybe you should go faster. If you want more security and you want to use AAVE instead, then wait before you transfer funds to Avalanche. That's your choice. Okay, so for instance, if we deposit some DAI, we can borrow any of these, but let's say we want to borrow some DAI also. We have to pay 6.65%, and we're getting 13.66% back, so we have a net positive of 7%. So we're gaining 7%, even while we're borrowing. And basically, I explain this very similar strategy in my free book, that you can download. I explained this similar strategy when the campaign for Polygon-matic was at its height on AAVE. So you deposit your stable coin, you borrow more stable coin, and you redeposit them and reborrow and redeposit, and this way you can multiply. You can use the leverage, okay, to multiply your earnings. Okay, because your capital grows, you can triple your capital essentially in a matter of minutes. Now don't forget, the gas fees are a little bit higher on Avalanche than they are on Polygon, so the amounts have to be, don't invest $10, you're going to be wiped out. Invest something in the range of $1,000 probably, 500 and up. So that it makes sense. Otherwise, you just waste your money on gas fees, and whatever you're earning there will barely cover the gas fees, and that's not worth the trouble. And don't forget, the rates will change as soon as there's more money invested in any of these. The rates will go down and down and down and down. Okay, but they'll probably stay in the positive range, I would imagine. Okay, but that's a very nice way to multiply your earnings. So you can deposit on this, borrow on that, or whatever, if you want a little bit more risk. Just be careful, because the price of AVAX can go up and down. So if it goes up a lot, it means that your loan value is going to shoot up, and that might trigger a liquidation. Okay, so that's why in my book I talk mostly about borrowing and depositing stable coins, just because I want to sleep at night and I don't want to have to worry about liquidation. Okay, so consider that. Okay, so what does it look like? Obviously right now I don't have any coins on AVAX, as I said, but you can see what these are the coins that we saw earlier that you can borrow. Now don't forget, some of them have no collateral value. You cannot borrow against them, like USDT. AVAX you can borrow up to 40% because it's very volatile. What do we have? We have BTC, you can borrow up to 50%, which is pretty good. We've got WET, which is a surprisingly high 60%, because Ethereum's, I consider Ethereum pretty volatile, but these guys think it's not so volatile, I guess. So if you got some heat lying around, you can earn some good return on this. And of course we got DAI, and it's giving us also 60% collateral value. So these are the things you need to consider when you deposit. Okay, make sure you deposit something that's going to give you the best collateral possible. Okay, or if you plan on borrowing. If you don't want to borrow, then you know, you could simply deposit USDT and get a pretty decent rate already. So why not? But if you're planning on borrowing, you should try to get the best possible collateral. So deposit some Rapid Ethereum or some DAI. So if we went with this, we would get 60%, but the interest rate might be lower than on DAI. Yeah. That gives us a better interest for the same amount of collateral. So we might want to deposit DAI instead of Ethereum. Okay, and then it says here we don't have enough to borrow, obviously, because I didn't supply anything. And then you can choose, once you deposit and you have a collateral, you can borrow against it, and you choose the tokens you want according to whatever return you're going to get. So that gives you an overview of Banky. What else can you do with Avalanche? Well, you can go to Pangolin Exchange, which looks very much like QuickSwap on Polygon. I think they just copied and pasted the code and changed the color. Obviously the pools are different, but the format is nearly identical. So you can check this off. These pools, you can create your liquidity pair here. You can swap, you can vote, and so on. And this is where you do your PNG, and this is where you can deposit and get those percentages. So on this one, I don't think they're going to get any AVAX bonus. At least that was not mentioned in the announcement. But that's another farm where you're allowed to deposit on AVAX network. Now we did talk about Beefy earlier and in another video, and Beefy has 29 vaults available on the Avalanche network, so that's a pretty decent choice. You can also see here they've got Pangolin protocols, Lydia, and what else, Olive Swap, and so on. So you can also go there and explore those protocols and check them out. You're probably going to get better rates here, but don't forget, the higher the rates, the higher the risk. Okay, so this one you get 67,000%. Probably going to get quite a bit of impermanent loss, because AVAX is surprisingly volatile. But you know, that's up to you. Depending on your risk tolerance. Personally, I would use smaller amounts on these super high interest rates and higher amounts on more reasonable rates. Okay, like those down here. Okay, so you've got AAVE, AVAX, for instance, 154%. That's still pretty amazing. But anyway, you choose what you want on this one. Okay, so that's it for this intro to Avalanche. If you like this kind of stuff, let me know. Send a comment. Tell me about your experience with Avalanche also. That'd be a nice thing to know. Subscribe and like. Ring the bell. Download the free book. It explains a strategy very similar to what I talked about on Benki, but if you want more detail, it's in the book. It's free. If you don't like free, you can buy the book on Amazon. All right, that's it for today. Bye.